Hi, my name's Andrew Broughton. I live in Airdrie, Alberta, and I've been doing live sound my whole life. My current and latest gig is Rain, a tribute to the Beatles touring show. Been with them for 11 years, and we'd probably still be out right now if it wasn't for COVID. I'm also a computer programmer. I enjoy software that does automation, control systems, things like that. My latest work has to do with controlling mixers over the internet. I've also written some companion modules for controlling Yamaha and Allen and Heath consoles. And yeah, like that. I was interested in learning more. And if you're interested in anything I'm doing, check me out at www.checkcheck12.com. That's all spelled out in letters, CHECKONETWO. That's my site, and thanks for listening.
Hey everyone, my name is Disa Cameron. I'm from Ottawa in Canada. I'm an account manager with a company we are fondly calling ourselves One Canada, which is comprised of FMAV, PSAV, and Encore, so the group of companies. I've been with the company since about 2005. I started out as a freelance technician, and then I kind of moved my way up the ladder. And now I'm an account manager, which is consisting mostly of sales, but I do a little bit of the operations side and a lot of hand holding with my clients and really helping them make this transition to virtual and to hybrid. The reason why I am excited to be on this panel tonight and spending time with you is I really feel like there's a huge shift going on in our industry right now. And I think it's really important that we all come together, whether we're competitors or not, from different countries or not. I think it's really important that we all come together, collaborate, share our knowledge, and really try and unify and bring this industry back to where it was at and be even stronger and be even better. So thank you so much. Look forward to tonight's show, and thank you.
Great.
Still no audio. Are you sure? Oh, well, my Facebook hasn't caught up, but we are live here on AV Tech Talks. Hopefully, that's going out.
No, we do.
Okay, good. Thanks, Chris. So, sorry
Andy,
about
you
that.
controlling the boards? Is it? And it's Andy's controlling our boards right now. He's in the show. He's got remotely possible, and he's muting me the entire time. That's what's really going on here. I see it.
Yeah, so that's interesting that we were getting no audio there. Sorry about that, folks out in Facebook and YouTube land. For that little glitch, that was my error. We were without our slideshow today, so I tried to fake it and put it together too quick, and I apologize. But we are here on AV Tech Talks tonight. We're going to be talking about Universe Show Control. So I'd just love to ask our panel, how many of you guys are using any kind of control software in your current production workflows? I see. Yeah, good. A bunch of hands. What kind of stuff, Rocco, are you doing with?
We don't have enough time for him to go over all of the stuff that he uses for his workflow. So hold on now.
I was gonna say Rocco's doing a lot.
Rocco's
He's doing a lot.
the worst person to ask that question to.
That's not true. I'm using a lot of OSC to do show control stuff, using QLab and Isadora to automate things. I'm using BitFocus Companion. Whenever I can't find something that works, I make it myself. But there's a lot of over-the-counter stuff I use.
So just 4 things this time.
Well,
I heard 4 different programs, right? Is that what you're saying?
He's cut it down from about 8.
Okay.
So I mean, he's getting better. He's minimalizing his setup.
Yeah.
You just can't list the glue between everything else.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Brent, I think you had your hand up too.
Yeah, we're mostly just using Companion nowadays, so this will be interesting.
See, Brent's keeping it simple. I like that.
Great. And we've been covering a lot of ZoomOSC, so we've been learning a lot about different ways to control things in Zoom. And one of those things that Andy Carluccio, who's here with us tonight, also had mentioned was Universe Control. So immediately, I had to find someone to cover it, and I want to introduce Sherman Patten, who is going to kind of give us an overview, as well as Peter and Max, who are going to join us. Sherman, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be looking at tonight?
Yeah, as Ed said, Andy was doing the ZoomOSC stuff for the last few weeks, and I joined him in office hours for their training there. And they were going over all sorts of different control programs, and I was like, you know what? ZoomOSC and Universe are going to be best friends here. Showed off a little bit of that, and it went like wildfire. The Universe guys got plenty of requests for support, and they have graciously, in a matter of like a week and a half, given support in software. So it's been awesome to go along that journey and see it all grow. And that's how we all kind of came to AV Tech Talks here, is we all talked around and joined up and thought this would be a good space to talk about it more. And
that's great. Do you want to introduce Max and Peter for us?
I had to find some.
Yeah. So Peter is a longtime developer of the Universe software. Max has also been on their team for quite some time. They're kind of the leads of development and support, I believe. So I guess I'll let each of them kind of introduce themselves a bit there. So Peter, you want to go first?
The basics are named by Sherman. I'm the main developer of Universe. Started developing Universe in 2013. As recognized, there is no usable tool to control watchout. And then we own a widget designer for Pandora's box and so on and so on. And then we decided, okay, if we're starting developing a tool controlling stuff from show and event, we not only want to be fixed to one media server or one protocol. We want to make it open to all. That's why it's called Universe. And yeah, that's just the basics. And I really looking forward to give you a short introduction to the program. And yeah, now we'll go over to Max.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Yeah, thanks for having us on this show. We are very excited to give you more insights about Universe. I will give you an overview about Universe before, just to let you know what we are talking about, and just to show you what are the possibilities of Universe. So we, the Universe company, are thinking and solving AV issues on the software side. So there are plenty of smart and clever hardware and software solutions for different use cases, and they are all working fine within their cosmos. But it's difficult to connect all these devices together. And this is exactly where we came in. This is what Universe is made for. So we connect them all and offer a user-friendly interface to control them. So Universe is a smart software solution to connect and control devices and protocols. So Universe is building the bridge to your thoughts and wishes. So we offer various possibilities to interact and to give you the control behind just one click of a button. So this is why Universe is a solution for all your projects. So it doesn't matter what you're looking for. So the range is just incredible. So when you are thinking about a live show where you give the operator control of lighting cues and all the barcode E2 or event master or encode presets to send a picture to the LED wall and control the lighting. Well, just like Joshua did when the NBA restarts last year, or similar, maybe or more or less similar setup for the Biden election party. So, or you are looking to a permanent installation where Universe controls the light, sound, and power of a theme park with the timeline and the scheduler. They can create repeatable and timed scenarios. So another great example are the Corona vaccination centers here in Berlin, Germany. So where PRG uses KNX motion detectors to build a clear and visible room status system. So the KNX motion detectors register the presence in the cabins and clearly visualize them via the Universe web interface to make it easier for the medical staff to organize the vaccinations. So as you can see, as you can imagine, hybrid or virtual events in studio surroundings where Universe offers a reliable and repeatable process. Another use case is the German government. Universe connects different table microphones with a PTZ camera, image mixer, and a Cisco WebEx. So if you press the button of the microphone, the camera turns to your position, and when reach the target, sends the image to the mixer and then to the WebEx. So the whole process is automated by Universe. So currently, we are supporting, well, nearly 200 devices and protocols, and we are growing day by day. So Universe is designed to adapt easily to your wishes and needs, and this is what makes Universe much more flexible and scalable than other media control systems. As you can see, there are a lot of different use cases, and what makes Universe even more special, so you don't have to learn a scripting language to make it happen. So you don't even have to know the manual of the device you want to control. So Universe takes care of it all. So all the devices featured, visualized in a clean graphic node programming system. So we offer you a selection of control commands via a drop-down menu. So just keep it simple to reach your target. Well, I think I'm now happy to hand over to Peter again, who will show you a little more about the interface and the workflow within Universe itself. Peter,
Yeah,
please.
thanks. And for that, I would like to share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen all? Fine. Okay. This is Universe. We have one part of our philosophy is don't waste time learning software. And we promise it takes only 5 minutes to know the basics how to use this tool. First, this is our stage where we can place our control elements, our buttons, our fader, our label. And here we have our device list with media servers and video processors and so on and so on. And I will start just with a simple use case. I like to control a watchout server. it's not connected right now. It's not, watchout is not in my network. That's why the spot is yellow. And that's the first important point. You always have the full control over your the connection states of your device. If you have an active connection like TCP, you can have a yellow. That means I really want to connect, but I can't. And if it goes green, it's connected. If you have a passive connection like UDP, which is ArtNet and OSC and so on, it will stay gray because stateless connections you can't watch. Okay, we have watchout. Taking this, clicking at this button, dragging it over, and say timeline 7, and that's all. And that you can see that it's really working. I will start watchout. No license, I know. You can see the light goes green, watchout is connected. And when I now say 1 timeline 7, yeah, it runs. So that's simple. All we have to, second screen. So all necessary information will be printed out to my monitor, and all properties are in my property tab. I have also the possibility to define trigger. Triggers are incoming commands from any whatever. Yeah, we have we call it connector, our basic protocols, connectors here. For example, I take a MIDI connector. I have this small pad here. And when I'm moving a fader, I can see data coming in. And I like to map this on the fader, selecting the trigger tab, MIDI connector, and I see, okay, that comes in. It's a controller command on data 1, 2, and I link the second data part, and then I can see, okay. But this is, it takes too much time, to mapping that way. I can say I take another one and say trigger recording, and then I just tap on the fader on my board. Oh, no, not yet, not with this device, sorry. But regularly, we can record this trigger to say, map this trigger to the device. Yeah, now it's working. You can see here. Okay. And that's the way we have a library to store to build presets, for example. I can say take this to library, and then I have a preset stored. And we have modifier I will talk later about. What's maybe not so unimportant is, oh, I lost my screen share. 1 second.
So what looks nice about this is that it doesn't. I haven't seen you do any programming yet. There's no. It looks very simple. I think Omar was pointing that out to our Facebook audience. It looks like it's a very easy thing to start getting stuff connected.
It's a great interface to get into and really easy to get around in the first use. Once you learn just kind of a few things of the node programming. If you don't come from a node programming world, that takes a moment to just get into that world. But if I come from Eventu's world, and that's all node based, and that's where I came into this software, and having all that node flow and data flow and logic is really powerful. To be able to get used there, and the transparency of how easy it is to set up is where I've loved Universe.
Sherman, can you speak to node? Can you explain maybe a little bit about what that is, if people aren't familiar?
Yeah, so I'm going to just share my Universe interface here, and if you'll just spotlight me there. So I might just continue on what Peter was saying there, and just for reference, this is my ZoomOSC project there. But you can see these little connections here all of this is node programming, where you would take from one element and drag across to another element to set that node to flow the data from one point to another. So it's kind of like a variable in most other softwares, but rather than you saying variable XYZ as in code, you literally drag and drop that you want this to pair somewhere. So for instance, here's this command that I'm saying I want to remove the spotlight. I can just drag this here, bring it down onto that button, and say I want to link this, and I want to link data only or data and execution. So data only for this instance, because I would select the user from this instance, pass all of that data across over to these other buttons, and all these other buttons are referencing the output of that for its spot, pin, and other commands. And I'm not connected to this Zoom. This is all pre-data from me playing around earlier today, so I wasn't able to get into this Zoom to control it, nor do I think it's best for me to take control from Ed.
Sherman, thanks.
yeah.
I'm back. I've learned an important lesson. Don't play with your MIDI device if you're in a Zoom session.
Oh, because Zoom listens to MIDI if you...
I'm not sure what happened, but my mic and my speaker was off. So
excellent. Well, I was just continuing there, kind of showing what the node programming is and how node programming works. And so if you've come from other softwares, just having the ability to connect that data from point to another really makes powerful. So for instance, we might cover this later. This is if somebody's an active speaker, it sets the label in vMix with some logic there. So that's kind of how the node programming works.
Great,
so thank you.
Sorry, I want to jump in here real quick, and this could be for Max, Sherman, or anybody, Peter. Can you give me a walkthrough? I'm loving this noding thing. I'm especially loving the node coding thing because I can't code, God forbid that, right? But can you walk me through? I see like what you're talking about, like this action goes to this action and it does this. But if I'm a guy who's never used this program, right? What would be something like? Explain to me the layout to this, right? So I see this panel in the upper left-hand corner you were showing me, which has your commands. And then in the middle, I kind of see like these buttons you created or those preset buttons from a library somewhere. And then below that, I see this kind of how you're changing the commands within each individual button. Or am I diving too deep into that?
No, I think that's a great spot to go. So I don't know, Peter, do you want me to show kind of that? Or do you want me to go, or do you have something you want to show there? Just kind of the general flow of setting up?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm happy to do it if you want me to, so. But you know better than I. I learned that note, the trigger trick. I hadn't seen the auto map trigger trick before.
It's well hidden. Okay, yeah. What's the regular workflow is we have your buttons,
right?
Like Max told. You don't have to care about protocols of your target device. You can take a button and say, okay, this button plays a watch out. Timeline or whatever, and this button sends a TCP command to, and whatever you want. You can have thousands of commands. You can say, okay, this TCP command should be activated 1 second later. It's the same for fader. You can use one fader to change value for an ArtNet or for a MIDI or for a media server, whatever. And we like to support our users with some presets. I will return to my watchout. So we call it Orbiter. Orbiter means that we try to connect to the device and will synchronize universe to the device project. So I will take this watchout project, activate the orbiter, and then I have presets from watchout. For example, Z1. You can say play. I have the time code, halt, kill, and everything I have here, I can have on a web interface. Universe can publish a web interface. We have several projects that we routed from worldwide. We are placed in Berlin. It's 1 a.m. and we're routing projects in Australia. So say, click on the stage. Here you have your web interface on, and that's it. So
Nice. I like that a lot.
So
And-
yeah, you're saying that you can control
yeah,
different...
that's a regular workflow. Just take your buttons, your fader, or your label, or your picture, and then you can do this. Use the small flyout, and you have a bunch of additional controls. For example, a video player, an NDI player. I think Sherman will tell me a little bit more about a list box, and so on and so on. And of course, we are supporting Stream Deck. I have this small guy here. And in Universe, you're using it, you just configure your button. And then you have here your active, your connected Stream Decks. Right click, dragging it to it. Say, okay, that's a little bit too tiny, this font size. Okay, own style, 20, and that's it. You can also use a fader on your Stream Deck. You can use Stream Deck for video output. Yeah, okay. For example, taking this small video here. You can also watch streams. So, and say, okay, to Stream Deck. Now you see the video on the Stream Deck. That's a simple example, but it's more interesting, for example, if you're taking NDI streams or streams from cameras you like to watch to a Stream Deck, to use a Stream Deck more as a shot box. So
I think you just blew some minds there. Yeah, we can. I think you just blew some minds there with the that fader being able to be on your Stream Deck. Like that's something people ask for often. But then I think I just saw you put a video right onto your Stream Deck.
Sure did.
That's pretty remarkable. So I think that's pretty cool. So anybody who that was, that was fast. I mean, that the workflow was fast. Things were just happening so quick. So created a fader and then made it so that you can push buttons to control it right on the deck, and then boom, put a video across a few of the buttons. I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
Yep, you can also do the same thing with that time code. You can actually bring time code and either display it on a single button or make it where it's 3 buttons, where you have your minutes, seconds, hours on different buttons. Really great way to make feedback. And one thing to extend on the Stream Deck is you can have multiple Stream Decks with each of them having their own layouts of buttons. So you could have 2 different users where you drag the same button to their different Stream Decks, but have their own layouts and their own commands. So it makes it really easy to have layout A be simple for one person, and then you have the master control that has more of a complex layout.
Well, and that time code, I mean, a use case I can think of is handing that off to a TD who needs to know how long video TRTs are, playbacks are. You can just give them a Stream Deck or they, I guess, could they even look at just a web interface on an iPad or something, at least just see those numbers.
Stream Deck Mini is perfect for that. Just to display time code.
Yeah, one of the things I've actually done is I've used some USB over IP devices that are you just send PoE to it, and then you can run a Stream Deck as a network device, and I'm able to do time code over that. Actually works pretty great.
That's pretty awesome. If you can see my wheels spinning, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and I think one thing that might be helpful, since it seems like a lot of this group has been companion friendly or things, maybe I can show just a few things of kind of the comparative of companion has devices, and here's the devices and where to set them up.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yes, I'm just going to switch over.
We absolutely are a very companion heavy group. We've done a number of episodes that involved companion in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah, so the comparatives for companion, typically when you go to a companion, you have first your, is it devices that they call it? Devices configurations?
Instances, yeah.
Instances, yeah. So the devices here are the comparative to instances. And so here I can search just like you can search in there. So I can search for vmix, I can search for Visca, whatever you want. So then I would take in, for instance, this bird dog camera here, drag it into the interface, and it's then here. So once I select a device, in the top right, there's the properties panel. This would be where you'd configure your instance. And you would have your device settings, such as where the IP address of it is, the camera ID, and some other information there if you want the messages to be printed in the log and so forth. So then you would have your buttons tab, which that's where you kind of come to the stages. So the stage is one space or screen that you're configuring for. So for instance, this stage here is, I'm seeing 2 stages, but if I go into show mode, I've got stage 1, and I can also switch over to stage 2. So kind of like the emulators, what I'm kind of showing here, the comparable wise, is that there's different stages and pages for emulators. Now, each of those stages, as Peter showed, can be exposed as a web interface. So you can go ahead and click over there and run the web interface from a remote device that's on your LAN, or if you expose to your WAN, you could get into it that way. So that's where you have buttons, faders, and everything. And so, for instance, there's the NDI here. And so on my instance here, I've got NDI, which it's actually set to be a multi-view. So when I select that NDI source, the property tab goes to the corresponding menu, of course. And in here, I can choose which NDI source I have as my multi-view, make it a multi-view, and make it how I select it, so forth. So, for instance, right here, this number here is assigning that this is multi-view position 2. And if I scroll down a little here, there's multi-view position 1 right there, and a label. So that's where that is. So then there's the Stream Deck, and this is where Companion and Universe are kind of really deviate away from each other. Is Companion kind of has these pages that are locked to a Stream Deck mindset and how it lays out. Instead, this machine doesn't have a Stream Deck, so I can't drag and drop to it, but that's where you would have your Stream Deck. And if you had multiple Stream Decks, another tab would show up here and another for each Stream Deck. So you'd map those all independently. Then that's where you can get into the triggers side of things, similar to how there's feedback in Companion instances. And then one of the things that goes really powerful here is actually having logic, where you can take data from one element and pass it with logic to another element. So you could get that time code back from the media server and say, at this specific time, I need to trigger another event to open a microphone or something like that. You can do all the logic inside here. Also, there's project variables. So you can set up variables that you can reuse in the software to set. And so rather than if you don't like the node way, or if you don't want to drag a million connections there, you can actually instead go and in these fields put the variable name rather than linking the device. I think that kind of covers the generics of how this would compare to a companion type world.
Yeah, so James Walmsley on Facebook had asked, am I understanding stages equals pages? So is that kind of in looking at
stages would be more like each stage is its own device or emulator. If it's basically, you're thinking of it more, each stage is a space that you have a certain set of buttons that you can view in the web UI as one individual interface. And so the mapping of Stream Deck and the stages are completely separate from each other, that you custom map the Stream Deck after you've laid out all your buttons on the stage.
Got it. Okay.
You can also use one stage to build up your whole project, to build up all your logic, and use another stage as an interface for your customer to hand it over on an iPad or something like that. So the stages can be completely separated.
And you can also combine the Stream Decks. You have 3 Stream Decks, and Stream Deck 1 is controlling Stream Deck 2 and 3. That's also possible.
Yeah,
Right.
so you can have one Stream Deck control what page the other Stream Deck is viewing or something like that. It's really open-ended.
And then the variable, or sorry, it looked like you could, what you would do in Stream Deck is if you would link to another button. So if you had an action, is that what you were showing with the variables? I think it was towards the end of that.
Yeah, so it's just a variable that you want to set or reuse in another button or another set of logic. It's similar to linking the button would be the comparable, but it really is just where do I want to use this piece of data again? And so there's kind of two ways you can, in essence, use a variable. There's linking it with a data link that's node-based, or there's just having a variable that's sitting there that you can re-reference later in other buttons.
That's awesome. And then I guess with the time code, just to that sounded very interesting to me, using time code as opposed to setting delays or something. If you're building a macro on Companion, instead it sounds like you could set an action, then based on that time code, as you said, coming back as a trigger, then you don't really have to know how long you're going to wait because it's going to go based on the time code. Is that kind of accurate?
Yeah. I can show you if you like.
Oh, great.
Here. We have several devices that are supporting timecodes, media servers, and of course the classic LTC timecode. And you can say the easiest way is take a button, trigger the timecode device, and say on which timecode you like to execute that button. Or maybe your style this button, change the color or whatever. That would be the easiest way to handle timecode.
Great, cool. So then, if you're using something like Disguise, where you can pause and loop your clip or something, if you had a trigger that was after that loop, it would wait until it got through that loop, until you actually went to the next thing. So it's you can have it set to following pretty much any time code you want?
Yes, I'd like to share again.
Because it'll get the time code back from Disguise, for example, if that was...
what we can do, we have a timecode converter. For that, you can put in the timecode and say, 2 screens, here, convert this timecode to whatever you like to take, to which frame base you like to have to. Yeah, to get an offset. So, but maybe interesting for you is that Universe has its own timeline, and you can also say take that button with the, I don't know if it TCP contains a TCP command, and say take it to the timeline. And what's also possible is to say use the own time base, or link to an external device, for example, to a watchout timeline. And if, for example, the watchout timeline plays, the timecode will be linked to Universe and will control Universe. So you can take your external timecode to execute commands in Universe.
That's exactly what I was asking. Awesome. That's awesome.
I see some light bulbs going off in the panel.
Oh, so awesome. It's getting bright in here from all those light bulbs. I'm telling you, this is phenomenal. What else do you guys, is there other stuff you guys want to show us, or are we at a good point where we can maybe take a couple of the questions coming in from the audience?
Yeah, let's do a few questions, I think.
Awesome. Omar, you want to kick us off? Or Chris?
Yeah, that's fine. So I know we kind of haven't gone over some of this stuff yet, but Eddie Martinez here in Zoom asked, what is the upgrade process from light, standard, and pro versions? Is there any cost savings to jump into a pro license?
It's a good question for Max.
Yeah, well, actually, there are these 3 different versions. The light version is the smallest version, which is more or less which is a license for small exhibits for occasional use. You are a little bit limited by the devices, so there are just 3 devices possible.
It's our Swiss Army knife license.
But it's a Swiss Army knife, so you can do everything with it. What are the possibilities of Universe? The second version is the standard version. It's a powerful toolkit for any size. So in this version, you have an unlimited number of devices, as well as all the logic elements to design your project well to your needs. And yeah, you got the Pro version, comes with a lifetime update subscription. It's more for permanent installations if you want to have more graphic functionality, or for the web interface, or you would like to use KNX or DALI support, and then you will have to use the Pro version. Actually, there's no common way to upgrade your license. So if you buy a light version, you have to go with the light version. But yeah, of course, we are open for any discussions. And if you would like to upgrade, let's talk about it.
Absolutely. So then he also asked, can you speak to devices up to 3 devices per project? Not clear how that is defined, he asked.
I'll jump in on that one.
You can use all devices we have, all the 200, but only stream 3 at the same time per project for the light version. Yeah, you can use a TCP connector, you can use a remix and use a ZoomOSC, and that's all. Or you kick off the TCP connector and adding a OSC connector. I don't know, you name it, but it's limited to 3. But you have the web interface, you have the full Stream Deck support. You don't have a timeline, sorry, but you have the trigger. Yeah, that's the light version, and the Pro version is more for the fixed installation, for museums, for conference rooms and whatever. Because you have room control systems like KNX, like DALI. You have the scripting modifier when you really can write scripts in C# to build logics that you will not build with thousands of modifiers, and so on and so on. And you have, for the Pro version, you have extended HTML and CSS possibilities that you can include external content and have all style possibilities you know from a modern HTML interface. And the standard version is really the version that's made for the live events.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead,
Ed,
Chris.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, gentlemen. Lee Love asked a follow-up question to the last one, saying, so if we're just using Stream Deck, vMix, and X keys, this would be considered 3 devices.
No, Stream Deck is not a device. It's a controller. You can, Universe have the Stream Deck as a device too. I can show you. So you need to separate. This is a Stream Deck tab. Here are all Stream Deck listed, and you can plug in 5, 6 Stream Decks. It's up to you. It's not limited. And you have here the Stream Deck device 2, but this is only to I can show you. If you like to control Stream Deck, not by a Stream Deck, just by a button. So here, next page, previous page, and so on and so on. But for your case, that is there are only 2 devices. Yeah, not 3. Stream Deck is not a device in that meaning of a device.
Right. So Stream Deck only counts as a device if it's controlling the action of another Stream Deck, the functionality of another Stream Deck, like to advance pages. Got it. Cool.
Right.
But the MIDI device, listening to a MIDI is a device, correct?
Right.
Got it. Great. Let's move on to the next question. Eddie Martinez asks here in Zoom, never used or heard of KNX and DALI. What does this relate to Zoom or ZoomOSC and online events over Zoom? I'm not sure.
KNX and DALI are protocols for home and room control, window blinder, lights, you name it. What you need to control a room. It's not made for event.
Gotcha. Yeah. So much of our audience is live events that we, it's easy to forget that this does also room control and a ton of other functions too. So.
Yeah, those kind of come in place where for the install world, or in the opener, you saw Max reference their install where they're doing motion sensing of the COVID vaccination rooms. And so that motion sensor comes in there via KNX, I believe, and then adds triggers to affect the rest of the event. So it's not that it wouldn't be relative in show control environments. It's just more so for installs at hotels, conference centers, and things like that.
The 24/7 full automated control setups that it's made for. Yeah. Or maybe if you build up your personal smart home, but maybe for personal smart home controls, it's a little bit too expensive.
Got it. Omar, do you want to take a couple of questions?
Yeah. So my first question I want to bring up is, so there was a video that was played yesterday or 2 days ago on the page using a Stream Deck. Is that voiceover you, Peter?
Yes, all voices.
That was an awesome video, by the way. I really enjoyed that video.
Hey, I'm Stream Deck Mini. Yeah.
I highly suggest people go check out their YouTube page and see the referenced video.
Please watch the Universe Lite video. It's
that one too. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll post it in the chat for you guys right now. That video was awesome, and I kept hearing your voice, and I was like, "It's got to be him, right?" That's awesome.
That was Decky.
But did you recognize the Master of the Universe in the background? The He-Man.
Oh, I didn't. I got to rewatch the video now.
Yeah.
Oh, shame on me.
Easter eggs.
Tons of Easter eggs. Shame on me. I'll have to watch again, but I'll post that in here for you guys in a second. And I think the next one, I'll go diving into here. I'm actually going to let Disa take this one because I'm going to mess up this name really bad. So I'll let Disa take over that one.
Boy, thank you. Give me the
You're welcome. You got this. I believe in you. I believe in your abilities.
You know, like, I feel like it's like a 2021 version of Tonlok. It's like Tialok. Miguel Lopez Waterman from Facebook says, "Hi, Peter and Max. Thanks so much for taking the time so late in your day to talk with us. How much CPU work does your program need? Is the computer hungry? Looks like a very powerful piece of software."
It really depends on your project. So if you're using 2 4K NDI streams, it needs much more than just triggering some buttons or so. I don't have it right here. I have an old Intel Compu stick. You know the sticks with only have an HDMI plug, and that's all. It's 4 years old with an old ARM processor, and I'm using it to check the performance. So it will also run on a really poor system and run on a high performance system. It really depends on the project, but I would say that the daily use project, when you're controlling a few devices by buttons and faders and labels, and maybe using the web interface in Stream Deck, it does not cost a lot. It's we really try to build a not very hungry piece of software.
So for instance, I'm showing my Nook here. This is a Nook Skull Canyon, if anybody familiar with that. This is running 2 NDI signals and a bunch of logic and things here. So it is resource and process intensive, but mainly that's the NDI.
Yeah, when you're going to real time, it costs NDI, video streams, a time code too. Yeah, that costs.
I can run this on a low end surface and have good stability with it, not doing NDI and other things.
Do you have
like
a particular version that you would use for like a cloud deployment? Like, do you have like a minimum AWS size that you would, if you wanted to put this in the cloud, that you would recommend?
So no, I didn't understand completely.
If you wanted to run this on Amazon Web Services,
it's not planned right now to run it completely on a cloud and web service, but what is in the pipeline is that you control instances that are spread all over the world, so that universe can control other universes that are not in the same network. So that is
That's part of the beauty of what you've created is that you can allocate it to the machine that has the resources, but the machine that's interacting does not necessarily need to deploy those resources because you have the web. So you get the advantage of being able to put it on your best box. That
what
get those live.
We have customers that are hosting Universe on a virtual desktop on Azure or on AWS, and just using the web interface to controlling it. So this is possible. It's not an automated hosting to a cloud service, but if you have a poor system, poor performance, then you can do kind of that. Yeah. Or putting it into a virtual machine on another PC or whatever, and just using the web interface.
I'll jump in here real quick, and I think Max, you were the one that was showing this, but Dan Harley asked, could you please show the slide from the beginning that shows products supported currently? He's asking me to see that slide, and I think that was you, Max, you were showing that, or was that you, Peter?
It was me. Just give me a second. I will just have to pick up the slide.
But I think this list is not complete, right?
No, it's the actual one.
Oh, I'm not sure because I didn't edit all the conference systems.
I've got the web browser one up here.
Five devices are missing in this.
The web browser is not the actual one. Just let me share my screen. This one.
Yes. So you got that?
This one is the actual one.
There you go.
There we go. And there's also, Peter, also these conference systems. I also added them to the list.
Maybe I can talk a little bit about the satellites. I see here on the list on the right side, we have 2 satellites. Satellites are free tools we're shipping out with Universe. It's Windows only, I'm sorry, but so it is. The satellite control is used to remote a Windows PC, powered up over wake over LAN, or shutting down, or executing processes, and starting an NDI feed. Just to control a bunch of PCs that are spread over the network. And the second one is control a PowerPoint presentation. And it's also possible to get information from the PowerPoint. So for example, if the presenter is switching to slide 5 of the presentation, you can say, Universe, please turn on the light or start the media server or so. So you can use PowerPoint as a control device too.
Or the other way around, you can give other people the possibility to control a PowerPoint presentation on another machine.
Yeah. Well, the presenter is holding the presentation, and 5 other PCs running the same presentation are synchronized to that.
So I'm going to jump in real quick. I'm looking at this for all the video guys out there. If you guys are looking at the media service side, I mean, you got the gambit. All the high end players are here. Even some of the newer ones that are kind of still new to the market are in here. You got Senora Coyote in there. They got a great product, and they're still kind of new in the industry. But you got QLab in here. You got Playback Pro in there. You got Pro Video Player. Module Pi for the more VJing type guys. You got Mad Mapper, Malumum. You got MIDI, which is technically for VJs, but now it's more mainstream. You also got Pandora's Box, Pictora, Pixera, which are the big heavier boxes. You got Disguise in there, which is now becoming more mainstream for a lot of us video guys that are doing the VR stuff. I mean, even down to the video processors, you guys got the Key Pros, the Analog Way, the Pulses, the Aqualon, the Live Core. I mean, you guys have a huge gambit here of toys that I get to play with all the time. So I'm really looking forward to downloading this myself and get into this.
Yeah, but this list is not fixed. If you're missing a device, talk to us.
I like
They've
that.
added probably 5 or 6 features for me.
there are guys that are sending us up to 50 requests about the same device. Right, Andy?
We know a little something about that.
That's good. Well, it's good. I mean, we have the 2 guys here you guys will be talking to directly. So, I mean, this is a great chance for anybody who has questions or anyone wants to know about anything that's going on out there. I mean, right now is the time to do it.
No, but we need you. We need the operators and the users that are out there to be up to date, to know how they're using Universe, how the business works. Business changes every time, every hour. So we need your input. And what I really like to say is that up to 60% of the features of Universe are inputs from the real life. Yeah, not from the table, not from the coding parts, and from the real life. Because as I told in the beginning, we all in the universe team are or were active operators, and so hopefully we know that especially the small things, the little helpers are making life easier on a product. And the second part is we really know the feeling if you're on a production, on a show, and something on your software is not working as expected. You have no chance to fix it because you're not the developer, you're a user, yeah, you paid for it, yeah. And that's really we are a little bit part of it, is our support. If we get information that something is wrong with Universe, especially 5 minutes before doors open, yeah, all red alert lamps are starting here, and because this is our baby. We developed it since years, and we liked it that it worked at once. And I hope, Sherman, that you will not correct me, but we never heard about that Universe has crashed a show in the last 8 years. We had problems in the rehearsal. We had problems, of course, in the when a new version comes out and hey, there's a bug, can you fix it? So, but we never get feedback about that Universe has crashed or destroyed a live show.
All good here. I will agree. 5 years of use, I think 6. Something like that.
Since
for me.
Yeah, you're very, very early adopter.
I like this. So I think, Chris, you had a couple questions you wanted to throw in there real quick before we keep diving in here.
We do have a couple questions. Lee Love again here on Zoom asks, is there a trial version?
Yes, there is. You just have to download the software. Just go on our homepage, tap the download link, download the software. Well, the software is the Universe free version, and currently we are extending the 5-minute function up to 2 hours till the next Monday. Well, in course of this show today, so you all can start to get to know the software. You can learn about all the opportunities and possibilities about the software, and became familiar with the product. So yeah, just download the software on our homepage, and this is the free version. You can use it for 2 hours till Monday.
So the free version is like as a free version is like the pro version. All features are activated, and yeah, after the now 2 hours, formerly 5 minutes, the in and outgoing commands are blocked. Because you can still prepare a show, build up your interface, but you can't send and you can't receive. So you need to restart it. So we have a lot. Yeah, Sherman?
Yeah, so basically just download the software with no install key. You can use the software for 2 hours, sending, receiving commands. Then those commands stop. You can continue building, changing your interface, saving your interface. You just have to reopen the software, and you'll get those 2 hours of sending commands again. Now, I think that will reduce later on to a shorter time because they've extended that period of 2 hours for a demo, basically for all of the viewers here.
Well, I can tell you right now, thank you. We greatly appreciate you extending the demo for our users and our wonderful AV Educate community here to be able to download and try the product. Absolutely graciously appreciate that. I'm going to take Eddie's question and kind of warp it a little bit. He asked Sherman specifically what version he was using, but I see that Peter's obviously messing with the pro version, so that answers that question. Andy, I'm assuming you use this, so what version do you use, Andy, and what version do you use, Sherman?
So I use the standard version, and this is where we're able to start to bring in the liminal ZoomOSC device. You could use it on the light version as one of your 3 if you want to do that. We get to as part of diagnosing and learning more about the software. The standard version gives me all of the capabilities that I might use in the live event control. So that's been a good fit for our team.
Yeah, and I use the standard version. That's what I've used for many, many years. Just for reference, the light version, again, you could do the 3 devices. The one thing you'll be missing that's in this interface here is the NDI. You need the standard version to get the NDI feature in there. I find it super powerful to have that in there. But I've also got the pro version that I am learning here and getting in with the extended controls to do everything else.
And maybe what's not so what's maybe interesting for you, Universe is unofficial portable. You have the installer, that's okay, but you can copy it to a USB stick. Maybe if you have the and can go to another PC and run it from there. And we have 2 ways of using the license. Instantly, you have when you purchase a license, you will get a key, can activate it on your local system. And additionally, you can order a dongle, an old school dongle, transfer your license to the dongle and plug it to another PC, and then you have transferred your license.
Now, that's big for me, especially with a lot of things that you download in the video world, in licensing keys and things like that, where it's, okay, every computer has to have a license to run it, or one license to move it to other things. So is it limited to how many machines you can put on it, or no?
The last question again, please, sorry.
I was saying, is it limited to how many machines you can put on it, or is there no limit? Like, for instance, vMix, you're limited to 2 machines active at a time.
Yeah, it's limited to one license, 1 machine.
And
so I just want, but 1 license, 1 machine, but you got the license key or your license activation key, and you can carry it from one PC to another, and you can activate every PC as long as the dongle is connected to the machine.
I just want to jump in here, guys. We're at the hour mark right now, so just let everybody know we have another hour left to the show. I don't want to get too far ahead. I don't want to get us too far into the questions if we are missing some of the demo stuff, but I do want to open it up to the panelists here real quick. We have a very powerful team with us, with Brent, Andy, well, both Andys now, right? Andy, and Rocco, and Brent here. So if you guys have anything you wanted to ask real quick before we kind of got back on track here, because you guys are also programmers, you got your own things out there, and you guys have, I'm sure, amazing questions to talk about and incorporating things. I'd love to hear from you guys real quick if you have anything. Go ahead, Andy. Andy Corcellino.
So one of the things that I thought was really interesting in playing with Universe over the past couple of weeks has been the way that you abstract controls progressively, right? So first, you've done this great service of making it visual to be able to program your controller, right? Then you added that Stream Deck integration. That's another layer away. You don't have to be aware of it. You have the web interface without the nodes behind it. Would you be able to talk about a case study or a project that you worked on where that variable level of access and multiple interfaces of control played a role in how that installation or live event functioned?
Max, would you like, or should I?
No, please, Peter, go for it.
Okay, let me load a small project from our Italian guys. So, share screen. So this is a good example. So it looks a little bit weird, but I promise it's simple. This is a conference room control. You have a tablet right now. The tablet shows this kind of web interface, and you can say go to stream control. You have 3 cameras. One is a Panasonic Dome Cam with NDI, and the other ones I forgot, but they're using RTSP streams. The user can define its own camera set, its own preset names. For example, hello world. Save. It's all stored to variables, and can here control the camera via the Whisker protocol, and can see all camera views at the same time. And the room control, in this case, say, okay, it's in the morning, system on, projector on, cameras on, cameras to home position, and that's it. If I go back to the project, taking a look at the device command, they have a Panasonic cam. ATEM is also included, and here this is a satellite control. This is the second PC that is turned on by the satellite control. And this is one of the use cases we had, in the last 2 weeks. Is this okay for you?
Because I think it's what I'm trying to drive at here is just how much of a chimera this program is, right? There are people who will pick up something just to control their Stream Deck, or something just to build a logic node, to be able to create some association between devices, or people who will just build out some interface. And what you've done is you've created a multi-purpose piece of software that can serve all of those things and extend into hardware and be in all these different places. So it's a highly flexible tool. So what people are getting when they buy your product is something that can fit a lot of different categories, which makes it really unique, in the AV space, where there's so much fixed function stuff out there that can do really well in its niche. You're in that intermediary space, allowing those communications to happen is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I've loved it as just a way to get a lot of different people to have a little bit of control of something, and only giving them the control of what I want them to have. And I can put a button that locks them out just at the call of a key. So it really makes it where it's not just one user using this. Multi-users can be in from the web browser. Different users can have a different Stream Deck with different mappings, and it really just keeps all those layers separate, but brings them all together in one software.
There's such a wide range of use cases. I'll just show you. If I said the show mode of Universe is not the standard one, like we have shown all the time, it's overlay. I can say show mode, and then it's reduced to this minimum, interface that's always on top. So if you have, for example, just one desktop, you have and you have enough to do to control your remix or your other stuff, you have here your small interface up and pinned in the corner. And the other one is that you have the kiosk mode, and then Universe is clear. And you can say additionally to the kiosk mode, lockdown active. Oh, lockdown, bad word these days. Lockdown and release password, so that it's really blocked to release. The interface can't release only by the password. It's not by shortcuts and whatever. Don't forget your password. It's really hard to get back. You need to restart your PC. But this is for an unintended mode. If you have prepared your project and here, my loving customer, take this project and work with it, and don't call me again. Or maybe for museums, or for showrooms, where you have a small tablet on the wall or a small PC, and you only show this interface and nothing more. So
that's exactly what I was just going to say. Doing some sort of interactive installation, once we kind of can all get back to going to those sorts of things, that seems like a perfect use case for that, is just have a couple buttons that are able to be pushed on some sort of tablet device that the user, or the person who is interacting with the artwork or whatever it is, can just go and press the couple things. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and what you can do additionally, you have the timer and the watchdog device, the internal devices. Watchdogs you can use to trigger actions if something happens with the connection. For example, you have the connection to your ATEM Mini or to your media server, and the connection is broken, it's lost for whatever. Then the watchdog can trigger a button to activate a backup machine or whatever. And the timer you can use as a trigger. Not yet. I don't know. And then you have the scheduler to say, okay, on Monday the 1st on March, please activate that button. Or maybe on all working days or only at the weekend. So that we talk about for fixed installation. That's unintended, please, at the morning at 6 before the doors open, start our projectors, turn the light on, start the videos, and in the evening, please shutting down everything.
That's so I want to jump in again real quick. And Rocco, I know you wanted to say something a little bit earlier. I wanted to give you the floor real fast.
Sorry, again,
I was
please.
wondering if the OBS controls were better than what's offered in Companion right now, because Companion is very limited.
I don't know. I hope so. We can take a look at the commands we implemented. 1 second. Up. OBS. I should share my screen, right? So.
Do you also have a few questions from the panel here? Did we want to take a minute for that, or?
I'm ready. OBS. Of course, it needs a WebSocket plugin for OBS, and these are the commands right now we're supporting, and they're working. So we tested it. The community tested it. But it's the same like missing devices. If commands are missing, give us a call, write us an email.
Send an email on their support, and they'll add in the commands you need, and they're generally pretty quick at it, I must say.
So what's almost possible is that we integrate new features and completely customize Universe if you have a special case. So please ask for our special solutions.
Andy, filter visibility is nice, but it would be nice to have a volume control would be the big one that I would want for sources.
Volume control for the OBS?
Yeah.
Doing it live.
I can see.
No, I
can see Rocco's gears turning in his head right now of how he's going to use this.
Right now, I have my own solution for doing it. That works really good, but it's nice if other people had a solution.
So we have a very, very big wish list, of course. It's almost possible to place an order for an integration, or just say, hey, that's my wish, and if you have time, please add it. It's almost possible.
Andy Broughton, you had something you want to say?
If you don't mind, I'll go quick.
I think Brett's before I am.
Sorry. When you're dealing with the web interfacing and other machines interfacing to your host computer, is there a practical limit to the amount of iPads or the amount of other machines that can access the web interface?
No, it's not limited.
I know I've had over a dozen on mine.
Awesome.
I mean, PCs, iPads, iPhones. Now, formatting is definitely a little weird between if you're trying to optimize for one device, it may not look the best for another. It does the best it can. It's not like buttons mess up or anything. It's just sometimes on an iPhone, you might need to do some weird scrolling to get to things. But
no, I just like your idea of giving a lot of people a little control. So
yeah. And that's where typically if I have somebody that's a user, I'll set up a page for that user. And so that user, I'll put only the buttons on that stage for that user and only give them access to that.
Just to give you another example, so regarding the web interface, there's a TV studio here in Germany where they control all the camera, where the camera guy controls his camera and his image mixer via an iPod. So you just build a screen for the iPod, using the iPod within the VLAN and controlling the cameras.
Or maybe if you like to adjust your lights in preparing of a live event or so, you can go in the middle of the stage with your mobile phone, with your tablet, and calibrating your fixtures, your presets, and whatever. So you're free, you're flexible.
Very cool. Thank you.
Andy Broughton, did you have something?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, fantastic looking piece of software. I'm so blown away by the interface, by the way it works, the flexibility. Absolutely incredible. Great job on that. I noticed that you're doing some stuff also that's not just with live, but industrial or installation work. Have you ever had to replace, say, a Crestron system or an Amex or QS system, anything like that? And will it work in those kind of situations could you replace a Crestron system, for example, with this software?
Yes, we did. We had several installations where we placed a Crestron or a AMX and one Extron too. Of course, we're not replacing. It depends a little bit. If you have a huge installation with a lot of hardware from Crestron, it's only controlled by Crestron. Sometimes it's better to use Universe as an additional tool. But we had situations when the Crestron were removed because the Crestron is quite expensive in the what's the name? Following costs. So it costs a lot to call an operator for Crestron and say, hey, please reopen the project. And Universe is open. What we planned is to build a function that a project can be closed, that only the operator with a password can access to the project. But right now it's open. And yeah, if it's all devices that are controlled by Crestron are only devices with a protocol. Yeah, if a device have a protocol, Universe can control it. So
right. I just noticed right away that it looked much easier to build an interface than it does with Crestron. I mean, Crestron and AMX and so on, you need a lot of programming experience to get those things set up. This looks way easier to build something, but can you lock it down? Can you control all those an unbelievable amount of devices that AMX and Crestron can control? You're saying it all depends on whether the manufacturers open the protocol or not for those products.
Maybe a concrete use case. We had a job for the German government the last month, and there were one conference system that was specialized on the Crestron system, and the second one is the same room that has an open protocol. And we implemented a bridge from the Crestron, so the both conference system in Universe works as once, as only one single. So why you should do this? You have two conference systems, independent conference systems. So you have two independent groups of microphones, and that's not so nice when you, for example, want to say, okay, the camera only moves to the active microphone. In Universe, it was possible to bring all these different systems together and say, okay, they act as once. It maybe it was possible to replace the Crestron, but sometimes it's a political question. If you're replacing existing hardware, someone paid for it. Someone knows how it works, and
of course. One last question, just I'll be quick. It's a Windows-based product?
It's Windows-based, right?
Okay, but you can obviously, coming with the web, you can use any computer to be an interface, but the actual program needs to run on Windows. Is that correct?
Right.
Great. Thank you so much.
Just to add in there, I know that Peter talked about satellites. Universe has their own Windows-based satellites. For those that are familiar with Companion and the VicRio key mapper, that can work. With Universe added that as a device, so you can run that one if you're familiar with using that as remote control for a Mac.
Very cool. Very cool. Kind of fitting following Andy's question, Mark Harder has asked, are you working on adding Yamaha audio consoles?
We have Yamaha. Oh.
So they have the CL, the QL, and the TF.
Right.
Well as the MTX3.
What should I say? Yeah.
Do you currently support any audio consoles? I guess that's a good question to...
He just said 3 of the Yamahas, and I saw Soundcraft in there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, those were the ones that were supported. Sorry, I thought Sherman was just letting him know.
So he's supporting the SCP format for the Yamahas.
So if you look at my feed here, here's the audio consoles. Let me make this a little bigger here. Hold on. So these are the audio consoles supported. Allen and Heath, Behringer, Biamp, Shure, Axient, wireless mics. So I guess these all aren't on consoles, but a variety of devices for audio.
That's great. Excellent. Cool. You know what? We have a couple questions left, but I want to make sure we get through all of the demo. So maybe, Omar, do you want to take the next question, and then we can. And actually, the next two questions in the queue are pretty much, I think, going to lead to our next demo. So go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. So Ray Harris asks, can you show us the ZoomOSC as a device on Universe? Kind of how you'd build that up at ZoomOSC inside of Universe.
Yeah, I guess we were going to show a ZoomOSC demo, so I guess now is the best time to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here if somebody will pin me.
Perfect.
So again, you may have seen this interface on some of the videos of office hours or video I posted. We've been extending working on this. So I'll just go through quick here. So you're seeing two Zoom screens here, which are coming in via NDI. This list is auto-created from a ZoomOSC. Now, I'm not currently connected to a ZoomOSC meeting in here, so this is data from the last time I was connected. And so you can select users here with this list. It'll give you live feedback of their mute state, video state, and hand state here, as well as on the left, it has a highlight for the active speaker. I can even go down here in the list and search in that list further. So if I search for my last name, Patten, you can see it's highlighted there. But if I search for Sherman, you can see there's 3 instances that would follow SHER in that sorting. Again, this list I use to select the user. So you can see up here, it's labeling the current selected user here. And all this output is sending to all these buttons here, or most all these buttons, to actually do the action for that state to that user. So for spotting, pinning, and everything like that. Let me exit out of this interface and I'll show you how that data again is working. So this is that node interflow we were talking about, node interface. So you can see all these green lines are linking over here to each of these buttons. And again, I'll show you this drag. So I hover over here to select this source, drag it to this mute button, and then I will link that command parameter to this selected user. And then I can choose whether it's the data or the data and the execution as that action changes. So for me, I just want data only because I want to send that data there and then click the button to actually send it. So that's how all those are linked up in there. And then, so another thing that we have going here is there's these auto build buttons that, Andy, just to cue you up, I might have you show this in a second if you're ready. He's actually connected up with live data. But all these buttons actually are auto created from the list. So for, again, if I go to the device for this liminal OSC, it has this list of these participants that are here and gives you all the information. And then this is where you would actually drag in those buttons and set that all up. So I'll probably cover just a little bit more, and then I'll have Andy show that in a real-time interaction way. Just to continue through this interface, I've got this little text window here that when I'm in full screen, I can just type in it and say hello. And send. I think these actions are erroring because I've had some things mispatched. So, but I could type in there and I could send it to the each of the different delineators, whether it's all participants, panelists, attendees, users, and so forth. And then let me just switch over to stage 2 here, which I have a button that just switches to stage 2. And so this is the liminal OSC return data element here, and it's sending out the information for the ID of the user and some other information like its name. I'm going to go out to the edit interface to just show you kind of some of the data linking around there. So on here, it's giving out the ID, the name of the participant, and the value for them. I'm using all this logic to basically use a text node to add in the function. So this output here goes to this node here, label here, which is just saying what the command is. And then I'm sending via the web requester a specific string. And so you're seeing some code here because I just was doing it this way. The vmix node itself can set that as well. And then I've got a freeze action that basically when this triggers, it holds for 4 seconds. And that it freezes that button and then releases it 4 seconds later, just so that that name isn't always changing actively. And again, in the commands, you have device stacks similar to how you would in Companion that you basically just have an offset of when this button's pressed, this goes at the 0, then this waits 4,000 milliseconds and then sends its command, and so forth. More logic here, kind of going along the same thing. This is if a raised hand comes across, it says ZoomOSC pin this person on screen 2, and also sends to vmix set the title of a certain input to that title. And again, I have a hold command that's referencing and holding that data so I can buffer it until I want to release it. So that's kind of the ZoomOSC general interface. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Andy and see if he can show us a live bring in of everything that this meeting we're currently on shows for those auto build buttons.
Absolutely. And so what I'll show you is what Universe has created for us, and sort of use that on some live data here. So I'm going to share my screen. This is my Universe install. So I'm going to go over to my devices. I'm going to search for Liminal ZoomOSC. I'm going to drag that in. And inside of ZoomOSC, under my settings page, I have my outputs enabled. So I'm transmitting to port 1234. And over here, the receive port inside of this is 1234. And you'll see that the device has turned green because ZoomOSC is connected. So there's a couple different things I could do. I could, let's see, if I click on the ZoomOSC device, you'll see here over in the orbiter, we were talking about that earlier. The orbiter now has the information of everybody who's on the Zoom call right now. And something that's really fun is if you drag the orbiter into your canvas, onto your stage, we now have a button for the ability to mute and unmute everybody on this call. So just with one drag, we now have audio control of everybody. And let's say audio control is not what you're looking for. You wanted video state control or something like that. Well, they thought of that too. So now you have mute, video, hand, and online states that you can drag in here and then quickly create buttons for all of that. Really, really awesome implementation. I'd be remiss if I didn't show quickly, assuming I can remember how to do it, the list box. So if I go over and search for the list box and drag that in, I can then add ZoomOSC to it. Did I drag that under the trigger input? Yep, bring it in there, and then give it a second.
You have to call the pull data command.
The call data command, right? So that would be from.
No, just take a button.
Mm-hmm.
No, a new button.
A new button
would be better.
Okay. Got it.
So, and add the Zoom device to the command and say pull data.
Got it. Okay, great. Pull participant data, shift click, and that sent the list command out. Great. Oh, that's awesome. And here you'll see the online offline status of everybody in the participants list because I assigned target IDs to everybody. And you can see their hand status, whether it's green or gray indicates their hand raise status. So if anybody wants to raise a hand here, I'll be able to show you that. Boom, there go 3 hands right there, 4 hands. You can see they all turn blue.
And so these live updates are also shown in the button. For example, if you say for the Peter Benedix, that's me. It's the last row. I now turn my video off and my microphone. And now on. You can see there are trigger predefined on these buttons that will switch the color of the to display the state, the current state. So sorry, back to you.
No, that's great. I mean, and this is what's happened here is really brilliant. And I'll be remiss if I didn't just remind everybody that in addition to having the liminal ZoomOSC instance, there is also the generic OSC connector, where if Universe did not add a particular command that you're looking for right now, but you want to be able to use ZoomOSC with it, well, you have that option. You can just go ahead and add in a generic OSC device and reference our API, and then you'll be able to build out that custom device that you were looking for.
And also just to reference, another way to, if you're limited on devices, under the command stack for ZoomOSC, there actually is a custom command that...
oh, that's right. We did get that in. Thank you, guys. that was a late breaking request. That's awesome.
Yeah. So for instance, you can do a custom command and just send the ZoomOSC as if it was, if there's, as Andy, because he's a weekly build developer, as he adds some awesome new features and Universe might not be able to keep up, you can add in those commands easily for yourself.
I'm pretty surprised with the pace already. It's pretty amazing, guys. This is quite a bit to get done in a week and a half. And then like even simple things like drop down lists that have all of the usernames, from the orbiter like available when you're building a command. This is brilliant. I mean, you guys really killed it. It's fabulous.
This list box, you mentioned it, the drop down. We opened up this list box for the Universe Lite version. So the smallest version for about, I think it's $180 or something like that, designed for the small exhibits, or even for a Zoom call to build your own interface. This is what it's made for. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just got to say that this is exactly, 3 or 4 weeks ago, before I'd stumbled across Universe, we had internally been discussing like, gosh, there is a void in the OSC space of programs that can input, do logic, and output OSC. And we're specifically designed for control interfaces, right? Because you guys had in some media servers and all of that, but that's so much to deploy, so much overhead. And what you guys have done is this clean, efficient, shareable control surface software that adds that interoperability. So we're thrilled that you've added us to your list. We're really excited about it.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. I feel like I could even use this software the way you guys have laid it out for us. We do have a few more questions. If I could interject with that, is that all right?
Disa, can I just, before you get to those questions, can I just say, from what Andy was just talking about, how 3 or 4 weeks ago he became introduced to Universe, and there's already integrations built in. That's what I love about this community, not just of the community here who's watching and viewers and users who are getting into it, but Andy and Liminal and Universe and all of these integrations, that community of manufacturers who are bringing the features that are going to make our lives as operators easier is phenomenal. So thank you guys for finding that synergy and putting it together and making things happen, because ultimately all of us users are the ones who are benefiting from you guys being able to churn these things out so quickly. So again, thank you guys. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I know, Andy, you don't sleep very much, and clearly our friends from Germany here aren't doing much sleeping tonight either. So with that, Disa, I'll let you get back to the questions. Before we got too far, I wanted to thank them for all the work and the community relations that they're doing here.
Yeah, so a big hot topic of discussion tonight has been pricing, and I did go ahead and pull it up on the website. It's in euros, so I guess for us kooky Canadians, it's kind of taking that price and doubling it. So the Lite would be starting at around 300 CAD-ish, give or take. But there are quite a few questions. I'll name names for the benefit of engaging with those participants. So James Wamsley from Facebook and then Tim Mann here on Zoom both asked if there is exploration of like a rent-to-own licensing style, kind of like what they do with QLabs. And they also just wanted to thank you again for the demo.
Thank you very much. I think I will come in here and we'll share my screen. Yeah, well, a rental version, we don't, well, other way around. Universe is a software which could be used offline. This was the main target for us, to design a software which you can use on your event when you are abroad, when you're out, when you got no internet connection. And so this is the reason why we have no rental version. So you don't have to be online. So therefore, yeah, you just have the possibility to buy a version. And this is the price segment. Yeah.
I see you pulled it up in US dollars. That's super helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's definitely, especially for the Lite, you're gonna get up and running pretty easily for a small investment. Okay, next question from James Wamsley again. He's very excited about this product here. Will development ever be open source for devices, or are we able to create our own devices? And I did already hear you hinting at that earlier in the demo, so this might have been already touched on.
So currently it's not possible to build up own devices in the way it's in the way like that. But of course, you have all devices are based on the same network protocols: TCP, UDP, UEC, you name it. You can use you can take a connector of your choice and use it to. Sorry, it's late in Germany. To type in all the commands from the API, from the protocol, and then for later use you can take your setup or putting it into the library.
I think,
but it's not open source like you know it from Companion.
But I think this is but I think this is the way how Sherman started with the ZoomOSC. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I use just a generic OSC implementation here to originally get ZoomOSC added in there. And so for most devices, you could use you may have to look at the manual and do a little research, but UDP, web requests, there's a handful of ways that you can use the generic device as the way to build your own platform. And then what I would suggest doing, if you've built your own device, share it back to Universe and say, hey, here's a custom integration. Can you work off this project that I've got and see where you can go from it? And they'll see where in their roadmap they can add that device in and work with you on that. I've done it probably 6 or 8 times.
Yeah, what this journey is basically like, yeah, we've got the full power of it immediately because of the generic device. But by adding the device, we've added in ease of user interface, right? And in-app population and styling and things like that. But the raw functionality was always there because of the way that they've built Universe.
Awesome. So this is more or less, I don't think it's necessarily a question. It sounds more of a comment, but I'm going to butcher it. But Talik Miguel Lopez Waterman, Disa did it so much better than I did. But it seems like this is a game changer for the system integration market. Has this been a game changer for that world? I have a few people who need to know about this. So have you seen a lot of response for the system integration market for this?
Max, what would you like?
Yeah, well, we are well, let's say just from the beginning, or other way around. The software, Peter started to develop the software 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it was just focusing on the live event and on the event market. And actually, we are now starting just half a year ago to, pushing more and more into the permanent installation sector and trying to, locate the Universe version there. So we are just from the beginning. So we are. Well, we need you to spread Universe, and we need you to talk about it, to make it more visible on the market.
Yeah, and we were surprised a few years ago when the first integration house came to us and said, hey, we heard about Universe. We know it's a show control system, but can we use it to control? It was the German pavilion on the World Exhibition in Milan in 2015. It was the first big project where the entire building was controlled by Universe. Universe was 2, now we are on Universe 5. And then we recognized, okay, there's a gap between, okay, I write something and maybe using a little bit V4 and a little bit of this, of that, and taking a Crestron or taking a Medialon, whatever. Yeah? There's a gap, and this gap is Universe able to close. And that, like Max told, we started implementing the standard protocols like KNX or DELI or whatever. And yeah, moving more and more in the direction of this installation market. And yeah, I only can repeat what Max said. We need your input, we need your feedback to develop Universe in the way you need.
Awesome. And then Randy Regis said, can this software be integrated with Zoom Rooms? Well, I'm assuming because of ZoomOSC, it can work that way, correct?
Stay posted for RoomOSC, because then the generic OSC will be able to do it, and maybe Universe and I will have another chat.
When Andy laughs, we all benefit. I'll just tell you that.
Absolutely. I'm not arguing that at all.
When Andy has a smirk, we're all winning here. I can tell you that. This is the last question we have for the moment, and then maybe Sherman can show us some of the hardware integration with some switchers or something. I know you had some things that you had to show us, but Orion Slater asks, can you set up custom feedback, or is it currently limited to what you see in the preset there? I'm assuming that's for the ZoomOSC.
By custom feedback, I'm not sure exactly what he means there, but yes, you could listen to many different triggers as the feedback element for the hand raised or video states in the ZoomOSC instance. Many other instances can also provide feedback from them, such as what states a switcher's on, and use that as logic or just tally on a button.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, sorry, you know what, David Brady too, just for a point of clarification, he had asked on the Facebook side, the pricing that we were shown earlier, that's a perpetual license, or is that an annual license?
No, you just have to pay once, and then it's a lifetime license. There's 12 months of update subscription, which is included within the price. And if you would like to extend in the standard version, you have to buy another update subscription for another 12 months. But the license itself is a lifetime license. You will just...
Similar to vMix, if people are familiar with the purchase it, you own that version for life. If you want to get back current with the subscriptions, you pay a small subscription fee to update that. And that's also where the Pro license, as he said, is a lifetime update subscription license.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. So
we had David Brady say in all capital letters, "Take my money."
Okay.
Great. So why don't we, Sherman? Why don't you show us what you've got as far as I think switchers is something really cool.
First off,
if you have that.
Yeah, I have some PTZ control queued up here first. I think this will be a great place to start. So just this last week, Universe added in Bird Dog PTZ controllers, and I've got a few of those, and I was super excited. So I built this little interface. Again, I'm bringing in 2 NDI sources here. I can click that on them in the interface, and you see the red box around it and these green boxes below. That's selecting what camera I'm currently using. So on this PTZ, I can pan right, pan left. I've got a speed input where I can slow it down. And actually, 0 wouldn't be a speed though, for instance. And so I can also change the zoom speed, so I can select into this other camera and zoom in and zoom out. Or I can save and recall presets on there, all with selecting the NDI views here. And so again, there's a bunch of logic here. I'm not going to go too far into it, but the logic comes of what device I'm selecting, goes to this logic of, it says, if A equals 1, press this button. If A equals 2, press that button. And also some other logic that says if A is not or it, like depresses the button, because these are toggles. And then again, these volume sliders are setting a variable for what I'm using on the input of the speed of the drives of these buttons.
And right now I can tell you're using your mouse on your screen to do that, but you can map that to your Stream Deck.
Correct. Yeah. So I've got a Stream Deck here. You can see I'm just going to go to page 2. So I can easily just drag and drop these buttons for up, down, left and right, so forth. Or I could drag this NDI to a button and drag it across U buttons.
And is that actually giving you a preview on the Stream Deck?
Yep. So maybe hard to see, but you can see towards the bottom buttons there. There's live preview of those buttons. Let me maybe just try to map it across the whole Stream Deck and see if that becomes a little more visible. And so
that is so cool.
But yeah, it's hard to translate across there. But yeah, basically the scaled image of what you're seeing on these 2 NDI views here is scaling across all those buttons. So this UI is showing duplicate instances across each button, but what it's actually doing is scaling. So I've got a 50-50 split across these buttons where this region's one and this region's another.
That's
that makes
amazing.
Sense. So
yeah, no, great.
that's a PTZ project. I'm going to open up a project I use for some E2s. So this I just basically use as my own control for some E2, Barco E2s for those that are familiar with it. So I've got a handful of buttons here. Oh, this was actually not the project I meant, but basically you can see I can queue up a few different items, cut and all trans between them. I can switch between my main and backup source. So for instance, this button, I had a demo where there were 10 devices coming in Image Pros. 5 of them were primary device and 5 of them were backup device. And I could just simply toggle this button and it would send at the queue stack down here of route this source when it's toggled one way and route these sources when it's toggled another way. And I've got different stages for each person. So let me open a different E2 show.
Omar, did you have your hand up?
No, I use E2. So now I want to go another hour to talk about E2.
Yeah. So, and just a reference here, I guess, before I close that. So E2 does have its own orbiter control. So it can actually bring in a bunch of information like your presets and your queues. You can do some auto-populate of your presets, which again, I'm not connected, so it's not going to populate correctly, but you can auto-populate a bunch of those buttons. Or another thing that I've controlled is a little simple NDI input that then controls a Blackmagic Video Hub router. This was basically a stage manager wanted to be able to see on a multi-view on a backstage monitor the multi-view, but he actually wanted to be able to click and route full screen sources to each of those multi-views. This project has a bunch of devices in it, so it may have errored as it's not connecting to 10 Image Pros. But again, it was basically that project was I put transparency buttons over an NDI multi-view, and then he could just click in the region and it would route to his backstage monitor via SDI router, the full screen source, and then he could go back to it. He could also trigger some test patterns or logos on Image Pros via toggle buttons.
That transparent button trick is going to be really handy, I think, and some of what we've been discussing with putting a gallery under it and then having the gallery position be the firing address. That could be really fun.
Yeah, and then real quick, I'm just loading up another X80 control interface here. So this is a X80 control interface that I had where it basically my stage 1 was a whole grid of buttons for 40 presets and a few different direct buttons for some emergency logos and things like that. And it would basically hit the next to go through the queues there. And then again, this is kind of similar where I've got that main and backup demo interface. This is a stage that I basically shared to a iPad for the demo technician who could freeze, go to test patterns and do other testing things on that. And then I also had another page that I used to map Stream Deck buttons for a bunch of different demo queues that I had to step through incrementally. And this project, I actually, in another show, took it where I was actually using Universe timelines and had it running timelines where I would basically have it queuing the Spyder in a time-based manner throughout the show.
Super awesome.
I'm remembering when Andy talked about the transparent controls. There's a small feature I like to show. It's a quite old feature.
Maybe you'll teach me a new trick here.
Yeah, maybe. If Universe, if the project is in kiosk mode here, there's an option that's called no background. And if I go to show mode, I have an overlay over my desktop. So
yeah.
Oh boy.
So you could use some interface that you couldn't bring into Universe for some reason or another, and
That's
then
right.
just put transparency buttons over it and make it completely functional.
Yeah.
Good trick.
And does that work with a touchscreen? I assume it would.
Sure does.
Wow.
Ed and me were thinking the same thing just now. So I just want to jump in here, guys. We got about 9 minutes left on the clock. I want to get to my favorite part, which is the positive feedback. Before we get there, I would love to hear from Sherman, Peter, and Max individually. If you guys have any final words to give to the community out there about anything in general, just a final word to the community about what we've done tonight. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. And then I'd love to give you guys some positive feedback that the community gave you between Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube about your product and you guys individually. So I guess, Sherman, I'll let you go first because you're on my screen, and then I see Peter, and then I see Max.
Yeah, sure. I just came here as a user and got involved with Andy and Peter and have been using Universe for a while. And I love sharing with the community just what can be done and seeing wherever other people can take it. I think Universe is a great way to dive in to really clean up your show control and make it where it's usable for others and not just your personal Stream Deck. At least that's how often I love Stream Deck or the companion stuff. It's great for my own personal control. I just find it not as clean to hand over to a client. And this is where Universe is just that clean thing that I really love handing over to a client, and it impresses everyone that sees it.
Nice. Peter?
Yeah, I really like to thank you that we have the opportunity to, or the chance to talk to you, to show Universe, because for me personally, Universe is my baby. I'm working from the first line of code, and I really love to see how people using it, how people helping us to involve it, and it's late in Germany. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm very happy about these last 2 hours.
Awesome. And again, thank you for being here so much at these times. You guys are amazing that you guys can come on with us and you stay up with us. Honestly, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for having us. So this was a pleasure to meet you all. And it was a pleasure to, Peter already said it, to present Universe to you and to the community. So for us, it's important to get your feedback to know where we should develop the software more, in which direction, and would be a pleasure to have you all on board and to welcome you to the Universe community. I got a little discount code if you are interested and would like to buy the software, and maybe you could write it on your Facebook site or somewhere else.
Yeah, 100%. Get it to us. We'll post it out. We'll do a couple of things for it. Get it out there to the community. Let them know what's going on. I just want to do real quick before we wrap up the night. We got about 6 minutes left, and I know we want to get to the panel as well. So I just want to give you guys out some positive feedback here. We had a total of 71 total viewers tonight, 41 on Zoom, 22 on Facebook, and 8 on YouTube. We're 3 weeks old on YouTube, so the fact that we have 8 and we just started promoting it today, or officially promoted it 2 weeks ago, but like pushing for it today is still, to me, impressive. But I want to say Victor on the Facebook side, kick-ass. He said a kick-ass panel. So for all the panelists out there, obviously you were recognized for your skill sets. Chuck Wojak on Facebook said, okay, now I have to go play with Universe. Thanks, guys, for all the sleepless nights this last couple of months. Andy, again, I'm in my show, right? Holy fuck, drag a video to Stream Deck. What? James, Omar looking swag today. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Andrew Mayer, so powerful. This is crazy awesome. Lee Love from the Zoom side, impressive and capable system, but appears to be priced and marketed more towards as a show controller, not for video production, for live streaming. Very looking forward to looking at that. Nick Hook also said, I can't wait for ZoomOSC and using this to control it. Ray Harris, to all the panelists, said, I agree with Andy. This is really fantastic work. On the YouTube side, we had this gentleman by the name of Nathim Nafa. I'll recommend Universe software. It's a very great software to control AV devices and customized to make interactions. I'm using the UV in my project in
Phuket,
Thailand. Oh no, I didn't listen. I spoke what he said. I didn't sugarcoat it. It does say that there. And then last one we had here was from David Brady, which is take my money. And I'll leave it on that. Ed, I'll let you take over, and let's get to the panelists real quick.
Thanks, Omar. I would love to get some reactions from our panel on everything we just saw. I think a lot of us were newcomers here to Universe, but after that amazing demo and some of those use cases, Brent, what are some of your thoughts?
Oh, I'm going to be spending the next few days with my head in the software. it looks awesome. Lots of use that I can think of. Again, being able to hand a client a tablet where they can see what's happening and have a little bit of control and have a little bit of say in the show. It's like there's a lot of, mind blown a little. There's a lot of stuff we can do.
Awesome. And let's see who else. Rocco, what were some of your thoughts? I know you do
I've had my
lot of
eyes
show
on
control.
Yeah, I've had my eyes on Universe for a while, just because I've been trying to find some good solutions for my corporate clients. So I definitely think I'm going to try to sell it to them, see if they are interested in it, because I think it would make my custom solutions easier to use remotely. Surprisingly, that's what I'm seeing, and is that I could and I can't wait for the universe to universe control too, because that seems like it's going to really open up some really cool possibilities.
Nice. And then Disa, you mentioned that you even think you could run this software. It looked nice and simple to set up. What are your thoughts?
Well, I might need someone like Brent to program it for me and then just give me the tablet. I like that option, actually. I like that one better. I'll use my little 2 cents to just give a big happy International Women's Day to all of the ladies of our AV Educate community. Yes, I see the panel putting their hands together. Thank you, gentlemen. And
it's an official celebration day in Berlin. It's an official celebration day here.
Official.
Official.
Well, it is official. It is official, yes. And thank you for AV Educate, bringing that diversity and inclusivity into our community is obviously so important. So yeah, anyone who identifies as a woman or the women behind the scenes, thank you so much for being a part of this community.
I just want to jump there real quick, and not to take away from anything Disa said, but we really should be thanking Andy here, who made the introduction a couple of weeks ago to us. So thank you for that. I know this was all done in the background and through emails, and we appreciate it a lot, but I think you should get recognition for Andy. You made that connection. We made this happen. So thank you again for being on our show, but also making this connection for us to do this presentation, because this was definitely fantastic, and it got the wheels turning, and we have a fantastic panel here tonight with us.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. And I love where they've taken it, and I love the open development process that they engage in. You guys over at Universe do. You actually adopt another one of the protocols. I'm a caretaker of the RTTP RPM. I'm one of the BlackTrax developers. So it was fun to see that on your list today. And I'm sure I'll be talking to some of my friends at Cast about how we'll do that in some of our installs. So thank you so much for your contributions and for doing it in the open protocol way. It really, that's the way forward.
Andy B, what about you, brother?
Well, again, just blown away at the work that was done. I'm kind of curious. Is this done in C# or something else? C#, yeah. It's what it looks beautiful. Great work as a programmer. I'm totally blown away. Excellent job.
Ed, Drummo, we got like less than 60 seconds. Are we good tonight?
So we just maybe Bodhi can talk about his thing real quick while I prep something, and then we'll be good. I have one more thing when we come back, and that's about it.
Oh, okay. That works
Bodhi,
for me.
go ahead.
Again, thank you guys for being here tonight. Omar and everybody that's on the panel, thank you for letting me come on and talk about the things that I do separately from AV Educate, which is stream live on Twitch daily. I stream for the kids, Extra Life, getting money to the kids for the local hospitals, paying their bills, doing things like that. The other thing that I'm very proud of is that don't take any personal donations from my Twitch. It all goes to buying Nintendo Switches for the kids at my local hospital to provide them some source of gaming is life when it comes to their illnesses and things that they're going through, that they can focus on something else instead of just being droned into all their medications and hospital goings and things like that. So again, that is at twitch.tv Toxic Biowolf. I'll post it in the links and things like that. If you come in, say hi, you'll see the little commands to type in chat to give you all the links and everywhere to go to donate or anything if you choose. I greatly appreciate everything everybody does for my channel when it comes to those as well.
Yeah, Bodhi's been doing great work. So, a hand for Bodhi for everything he's doing on his end. So I'd like to take a moment, make sure we thank the DVE store for their continued support of AV Tech Talks. If you've enjoyed the show, visit them at dvestore.com and let them know that you heard about them from AV Tech Talks, and thank them for the beautiful 1080p resolution that we get across Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube. So we love that that they support us. So please make sure you give them a look at dvestore.com. Next week, I want to mention that we are looking at an intro to Isadora. So we're just continuing to bring you guys tons of great content on some software that maybe you haven't heard of and haven't had a chance to dive into. So I just posted the event page link in the Facebook chat and here on Zoom. Make sure if you haven't registered for our webinar that you do so. There's 3 ways you can see AV Tech Talks. One is the Zoom webinar. You can watch us live on Facebook, or you can watch us live on YouTube. Every Monday night, 7 to 9 Eastern Time. So I posted those links over in the Facebook as well. And then joining our Discord. That's how we keep the conversations going. So we have a bunch of members over there. Community helps each other out. You can post questions. Every show that we do has its own channel. So everything gets organized so you can find all the information you're looking for. It's a great place to connect with people. Just this week, I've been able to connect some people with job opportunities. Someone said, hey, I have this job. Do you know anybody? And I was able to pull someone from the community and get them some work. So there's a lot of that interaction going on. But then there's also, I mean, so much helping. I know Andy Broughton and Andy Lipnick and other people who are regulars on our panel. Rocco has his own channel about OBS. So you guys got to get on the Discord if you're not already there and connect with us, connect with the rest of the community so that we can keep these conversations going between when we meet here on Monday nights. So other than that, I think I got all that stuff out of the way. Omar, do you want to give us the last words?
No, I think you did great. I'm not the master of words here. No.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been great. We'll see you guys again next Monday night. And if you're looking to go see Office Hours, make sure you go check them out. They should be starting any moment. We've been lucky that we were able to work out a schedule with their new Monday night sessions where nobody has to miss anything. So all you guys can come here for AV Tech Talks, go take a quick bio break, refill your refreshments, and then head on over to Office Hours and sit down for a couple more hours and learn more stuff. I don't know how we all have room in our brains to fit it all, but we'll keep coming back, and we'll keep stuffing stuff into those minds of yours. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll catch you next week. Oh, wait, of course, we all got to say goodbye to Facebook and social, and we'll see you next time. Where'd it go? There it is.